Okay, hello everyone, welcome back. So for this installment, what we're going to do is we are actually going to take PDT and install an application. So without any further ado, let's go into programs and features. So the application I'm going to be installing today is very small. It's a very old and very loved program of something that I really loved as I progressed in my career. It's called Winderstat. It's been around for a while, and basically it just gives you a stat of what's on your drives, right? It gives you statistics based on size, and so if you have things that are anyway. So I really love the application, and I'm plugging it, but they don't know me, so. But anyway, so let's see if it's installed on this machine. So first of all, it's not installed on the machine. It would say Winderstat here, would be under W. It's not there. So let's close that, and let's create the application, right? So there's our familiar 3.8.0 template. I'm going to move it over to my desktop. I'm going to do a copy here, right? I am going to go into my software folder, which I've already downloaded Winderstat, and it's version 1.1.2. So let's call this. I have a naming convention that I always use. What I do is I actually name the application that I'm installing, and then I always use underscores. Sorry, folks. 1.1.2, I think it was, right? Was that what we looked at? And make sure. Yep, 1.1.2, and then I always at the very end underscore it by PDT, so I know it's a PowerShell deployment toolkit application, right? Okay, so let's go into PowerShell ISE and do our thing. Where's it at? There you go, little bugger. All right, so we're going to open that up, and we are going to go to our desktop and look for the folder we just created, and we are going to open this. Now, PowerShell's ready to go to start a little scripting, but let's see how this all works. Okay, so in order for the application to install, PowerShell Deployment Toolkit needs it to be in a directory that it can attain, right? And you're going to see it as we further move forward going into SCCM, how that's done with a variable. But for now, where would that file go? Well, I'm glad you asked. There's three directories. You already know the App Deploy Toolkit directory has all the functionality. The two other directories, guess what they have in them? By default, nothing. There's nothing in them. These will be used as variables. You can add 10 of them. You can put different directories. You can have 20 different directories and refer to them in your PDT. But off the top, you got two. I've rarely had to use multiple top-level directories, in which can get away. When you get inside of files or support files, you might want to segregate in there. But that that's as you get further and further along with PDT. So anyway, so let's grab this. Let's do a copy of this exe, right? And we're going to close this, and we're going to copy that into the files directory. And there you have it. It's in there. Okay, so that's the file directory into our PDT that we're creating for Winderstat. We're going to go into PowerShell, and let's do our thing. On install, what do we want this to do? Install Winderstat 1.1.2. Okay. We're not going to do the uninstall yet. This is just the install. We're going to make sure that the install deployment type is install. Make sure the interactive is interactive because we want to see some screens. And we're going to say the app vendor is Winderstat. The app name is also Winderstat. And the version we're using is 1.1.2. Today's date. The date we created the file. Bill Ray. Good, good, good. Okay, so now we're going to go down to our install portion. Remember, we talked about in the branding, I showed you some of these. I use them consistently. So let's take our user response. I told you it's much easier if I just paste them in, right? So now you're not sitting here waiting for me to type. There's my user response, right? And then I'm going to say, yes, done. Message. You are install Winderstat 1.1.2 period. Tick in. Do you wish? Let's use a one. It's not making a wish, right? You want to continue. Okay. Installation. No, before we do the installation, let's put in the other stuff, right? So update in progress. Copy. Show it. So update in progress, and you can change this too, right? Let's change it to Winderstat 1.1.2 installation in progress. Please be patient. If you remember, we put a sleep in there. We don't need to do that now because it's going to install, right? I could also do a close application. So say if you were doing an uninstall or something else, you could put the close. I talked about that. So also what I typically do is I'm going to put something in the registry, right, that says that I've installed it using PDT. And how do I do that? Well, here's what I use. Let's do this. Let's make this variable. We'll call this. Let's call it Winder. Let's call it. Do I want to do the whole thing here? Let's do Winderstat. We're going to call it Winderstat, and then we're going to say if Winderstat is, let's do this. We don't even do that. Let's just do WordTag, right? Because it already has some of that in there. So the variable is going to be WordTag. I'm going to go out and look at my registry. Hey, get this registry key, software under HKey local machine software. WordTag, is it there? If not WordTag, you notice I use this script all the time, and then I just fill it in. Makes it. If not WordTag, let's create a new file. Let's create a new hive, and let's call it WordTag. Okay. Else, if it's already there, just echo it already exists. I don't need this. It'll all be in the log at the end of the script. Okay, so now I'm going to call this app 0, so I don't have to put Winderstat in there. You could put Winderstat in there if you want. And I'm going to say, okay, so I already have this label, right? I'm going to say get registry key. Take a look at it. Software, WordTag, right? So if it's there, we want to put a registry entry in for Winderstat. Okay, if not app 0, which is the variable has been set, we're going to create it, new item. We're also going to put a date for the date to install. And then, if it's already there, just move on. You don't need to do it. And then we're going to put in the show dialog box. Now, what I typically do is I take both of these, and these are usually, for me, these two in my corporate environment, these two things are part of my corporate template, right? So, and I typically, just when my template comes up, these are there, and I just have X's to designate the names and what I'm naming things. So, all right, so now I also want to put an end to that with the dialog box. Let's do this. Same thing as the last screen. Show dialog box, we know that's a Word document. It's in the Word document in the admin guide for PDT. Now let's do the install. So like I said, basic install, right? So we have the pre-installation of things happening, right? This is the great thing, that's what I love about PDT. It gives you these areas, right? So the pre-installation is basically the question the user, the interface for the user to start the application, and then creating the environment so that it creates the dialog boxes as you move on in your script. And then I'm going to actually put in the install. So I'm going to use execute process, which again is a PDT command. It's not part of PowerShell. If you try to run the same thing in PowerShell, it won't work. Okay, execute path. Okay, so where's the path at? Well, let's put it in the variable. Here's the variable. This is what I use. You can use other variables. PDT tells you, or the folks at PDT, there's multiple ways you can do this. This is how I do it. I find it the best. This is the best route, especially using SCCM. So what I do is I use this variable, script directory / files / what's the name of my exe? So we'll go to desktop. We'll look in Windows.pdt files. Let's do a rename. Let's copy this name and paste it right here. Right? Okay, so now I want to put a silent parameter in here. I don't want the interface from the exe to pop up while I'm installing this for my users. So how do we do that? Just put in parameters, then single quotes, the switch for silent mode for WinDirStat is /silent. And that's it, folks. When I run this script, we will have a PDT installed WinDirStat without involving WinDirStat's without involving WinDirStat's dialog. Now, there are other things you can do. You can go in if you have to do other things within an exe using your parameters feature here. This thing does tons of things. Put all kinds of commands in there. A lot of exes, and you can put in the home directory for that software or different things within the application as it's installing. You know, there's different switches. All that works in the parameters area. So, like I said, this is basic. So let's see if this works for me. So we have two things going on here, right? Actual functionality going on here. We actually are installing and executing a process, which is installing WinDirStat 1.1.2, and we want to do that silently. We are doing it through PowerShell, and we want to ensure that when we do it in PowerShell and we use our PDT, that we signature the install and the date of that in the registry. We created we're basically the top level, we're creating a WordTech hive. For my corporate, I have a hive that is specifically for my application. I call it what the corporation is, and it's always there, and that's where I put all my signatures. And then we're going to create the signature. We're going to check for the signature and create the signature. Okay, so here we go. Let's give this a run. Let's see if this works. Okay. Run it. Kicks over. It's asking me if I want to install WinDirStat. I say yes. I wish to continue. I want to continue. I click yes. Does its thing. It says that it's done. I click OK. Let's see if it's installed. There you go. All right. Let's go in the control panel. Remember before I showed you it wasn't there. It should be there now, right? Ta-da! There you go. Perfect. All right. Let's see if it works. It's a non-licensed product. It's freeware. And there you go. Okay. Works like a champ. Beautiful. Okay. Now, with that out of the way, let's go into the registry. Let's see if our registry took. Yes. This is great for SCCM because you can use this. You can use this to check different. You can use this to check your installs, right? So if you, okay, so that didn't happen here. That didn't work. Something didn't go here. You refresh. Uh-oh. What did we do wrong? I'm glad that happened. Let's see what we did wrong here. Let's go here. All right. App 0. If not, oh, there's the problem right there. Let's run it again. So we detected a problem. Okay. So now, this is great about ISE. I can just simply highlight this. I really don't need to highlight that, so let's not highlight that. Let's just run this portion of it because that's what failed. And let's run this. And this is just going to run the section. Oh, there you go. Now let's go and do a regedit. Let's do a view refresh. And there you have it. So that's it. And that's basically it. Pretty simple stuff. We'll get more complicated as we move along. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Have a good day.